Wow, these are really some weird, interesting cards. Like, I know Pokemon used to bring the league and do all that stuff, but what about Yu-Gi-Oh? I remember when these things came out at least 3 or 4 years after Pokemon came out, and it was pretty interesting to see what happened. So, as you can see here, these are old Pokemon and old different trading card games. And what I want to do here is I want to open a discussion. So, hello Internet, it's Andrew Michael, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how I plan to save the comic book industry and the trading card game industry all in one move. Now, here's how. Okay, so, what if you could take a comic book and take it to a different place? That's right. What if you could make comic books portable? Not on cell phones, but in trading card format. So let's say if you had like different pages, different sections of comic books. What if they could be the size of some of these cards, like the size of these? What if each comic book could be this size? And they could be like these little booklets, that way wherever you take them, you put them in your pocket and you take them wherever you go. So it'd make things interesting because people like portability. So what I want to do here is I want to give my pitch to what I feel can save the trading card game industry, the comic book industry, in one move. Let's begin. So here I have my little story that I wrote this morning. Now, as we all know, when we make a movie, especially with animation, you have a storyboard. Well, what if we took the storyboard and we make it into these little cards? So that way we would know, okay, we don't need this huge, gigantic wall to take with us. We have the storyboard right in our hand. So, watch this. So here, what you can see is you'd have a little pack of these, like 9 or 10 of these per pack, and you'd sell them in the store. Because people are always looking into new trading card games, they're always looking into. So what if we could take some of these and they would be shuffled up? It would be a game to try to see what order they would go in. Now you see, these would be in an order, but it wouldn't be known to the person that would buy them. So it would give them something to do. It'd be like, okay, where does this story fit? How exactly would this work? So because of that, I'm going to say this. So these also don't have titles on them. So that makes things interesting because you don't know which one is the title. And that's just going to make things interesting about the trading card game industry. People want to know how to play the game without having to spend hours and hours and hours looking on how to exactly learn the game. This is going to take a little bit of time because you have to know how to read and comprehend at the exact same time. Because when you're looking through all 9 or 10 of these like I have here, you're going to have to see where exactly they got to go. So as you can see here, both of these look like they could be in any order. But if you look at this, I made a story. And I did this in like 10-15 minutes, and these are poorly drawn, but I did as best as I could to make this as good as I possibly could. So, here we have a little story. And his name is Mr. So, and it's about how he somehow wound up in space. And so, what I'm doing here is I'm going to try to put these in order as much as I can. And then, what's going to happen here is that we are going to try to be able to get all this together. So we're going to try to organize all of these papers. And what makes things interesting is that we have to find a way to put these in order. And then it gives kids something to do. So, let's say if you scramble these up. It's kind of like Pictionary in the same way, but it's another thing is that when you have these in order, and when you do have these, your little comic book is now set up. So you'd have this little hole on the top of these, and you'd put like a little ring on them. So that way, when you organize these together, you would be able to keep these together. So what I would do is that you'd have all these, you'd have these in certain orders, you'd be able to put these together. So my pitch for this is not exactly to get something going and to make a lot of money, but this is something that can save 2 industries at one time. Because comic books are here to entertain people. They're not exactly here to do something different. Like, they're not here to be famous and all that stuff. They're trying to provide different context to what our favorite movies are. Like, say with Marvel Avengers. Marvel doesn't just have the movies, they have comic books. In fact, when we saw Thanos, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow, tomorrow's discussion is going to be about Thanos. Why exactly does he destroy half of the universe? And it's a question that a lot of people have been asking, but the thing is, it lies all the way back in 1990 when Marvel did write Silver Surfer with Thanos, because Thanos back in the time met Death, an actual angel. And then when Thanos met with the angel, what would happen is that these two would then get together, and then Thanos wanted to help the angel of death. So what he did is he destroyed everyone he saw with half of the universe gone. Every planet he went to, he destroyed half of it. The reason he did that is because he knew the other half would be weak enough to bow to Thanos, and he would get whatever he wanted, and then Death would be his sidekick. And that's what made Thanos powerful. So, here what we are going to do. So, let me see if I can get these in order. That's number 2. It's number 3. I'm going to read this as good as I can. So, this is how you're going to be able to do this. So, I have this. So, I've got the order. Here we go. This is my little story called Mr. So in Space. So, here we go. Why am I in space? Don't worry, Mr. So. The first page begins. So here you'd have these, and you have to find how exactly these would work. So, here is the guy that put him in space. The guy on here is the guy that put him in space. This is little Mr. So. And the guy that brought him into space says, "You're here because you wanted to view Earth differently." And then Stickman said, "And." And then the Stickman says, "Who are you?" And then the guy says, "I am Cesario, Sergeant of Teleporting. I can teleport you to places, and I can teleport people to the exact place where I am." This is obviously Mr. Cesario talking. "Yeah, I get that. But my big question is, how can I still be breathing? How did you make that possible?" Mr. Cesario said, "I can also put a cloak around you, so that you have the ability to breathe everywhere." Mr. So said, "So, where is it?" Mr. Cesario said, "It's around you and in your lungs. That is why you were able to breathe." Mr. Stickman said, "So, can I go back to Earth?" Mr. Cesario says, "The only way I can put you on Earth is if I go to Earth. I teleport there, then I can bring you with me." And the final end card, which is this one, see, so it says they both teleported back to Mr. Cell's home, which is obviously Earth. See, that's how this is. That's how simple this is. It's a story. It's like a storyboard, but you have it in your pocket. You have your storyboard right here. So when you have to go make the comics, when you go make the cartoons, when you go make the movies, everything you want to put in that movie, instead of being on this huge wall, probably on the other side of a building, you have it right here. So you can say, okay, this is what the storyboard says. This is what we're going to try to do. Let's see if we can implement this and get things going. Because just like with any book, just like with anything you try writing, you need a good story. If you have a good story, you can convince people of what you're trying to push ahead. What exactly do you want to tell? If you have a good story, are you going to be able to convince people to stay for next time? And see, just like this ending card, this never said the whole thing is over, which means this would imply that people would have to keep searching for different decks. They would have to keep searching for different packs of cards, so that way they can complete the story. Because each story might have like 5 or 6 different packs that completes the story. So what people would have to do is they'd have to spend money just to try to complete this. Now, how exactly could you keep track of what cards you have? That's the same thing with all the apps that Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Always has. They have codes. And the codes on them can allow you to track these things. So that way, if you ever lose these, you can still have your storyboard on the computer and everywhere else to do all that kind of stuff. And so here's my solution. My solution is, let's say you are on an airplane and your phone died. And you have like 5 or 6 more hours and you know your phone's not going to make it. So what if you need a trading card game that you can play with friends? You can mix these things up. Let's say you have like 3 or 4 different sets. If you mix these things up with like different things, you could have something weird going. You'd have a matching game and you try to have the story. And that would be interesting, because what is one thing people need to do? People need to read. If people could get their reading skills up, everything can be solved. Because in the job world, in school, you have to know how to read and comprehend at the exact same time. The more you can comprehend and the better you can comprehend, the better you can do on your test. That's the thing about all the tests around here. It's not about how much you know, but how much can you comprehend from each test question, and what did you know that allowed you to read and allowed you to answer those questions. These are just simple things you can do. These little things here are concepts, but only ideas can then turn into products, and products can then sell. But here's the thing about pitching my idea. My idea is not, oh my god, let's get this thing famous, let's get this thing cooking. Because it's just like with regular trading cards. First you have to have the card in the back, what exactly it's going to look like. Then you have to go find a publishing company to put these out for millions of people. Then you have to find stores that are going to do this. But that's the beauty of eBay and Amazon. You can do it all on your own. You can print these things out. You can be able to take these wherever you want. You take these and then basically distribute them all you want. You can send these to families and friends. You can do all this kind of stuff. You can have your own paper. Doesn't matter. As long as the story is good, you got something. Because it's just like with any movie. Just like with any comic book, trading card game, anime, video game, campaign, anything. If your story is good, no matter what kind of thing it's on, it's good. The whole concept of video games, let's go all the way back then when campaigns used to be the thing that was the game, besides online multiplayer. The campaigns used to be really what defined the games. It was either good, it was either something that you said, oh my goodness, I need to come home every single day to watch this campaign. It was something that people loved about campaigns. People loved watching the campaigns. And then when online multiplayer came in, it was a different way of storytelling because you got to connect with people. And so if you wanted to make a YouTube video about how much you connected with people online, that's a way of sharing your own story. That's the thing about these. This is not a Fortnite gameplay. This is not something that people are already doing. This is an interesting concept. Because what if Fortnite was a trading card game? What if Fortnite was indeed these little packs that you had to buy $4.99 for 10 of these and do all that kind of stuff? What if the most popular thing that you're doing now is a trading card game or a comic book? People would then go to it. The more something is pushed by a good group of people, the more it can sell because the more people want to get into the group. They want to connect with people. And the way to connect with people is go to where more people are. And just like with the video game thing, Fortnite took over because more people were heading towards it. People were sharing about it. People were connecting about it. And here you are. We're in Season 4 of Fortnite and people are still connecting to it. And that's something that's very interesting. And so, I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank you for listening to my concept, whether you accept it or not. Let me know if you think this might work or may not work. And maybe we get a new trading card game in 2018. Maybe we get new comic books for this year. Maybe we get Ant-Man vs. Wasp in a comic book edition. If we do, I would be willing to go to try to find what comic book we would be in. So that's the thing. Alright. Maybe I'll stream again today. Who knows? I'm on a roll today. Until next time, I'm Andrew Michael. And I'll see you guys next time. Thumbs up.